For most people, saving their first $100,000 is one of the hardest milestones to achieve. Building wealth is typically a slow process, especially when you're just getting started. That's because when you're starting from zero, you don't have money already working for you and helping you to amass more wealth. Hi! In this video, we will check why it is so hard to achieve $100,000, and the next one is way easier. If you want to receive more videos about investing, please consider subscribing. Munger has said that accumulating the first $100,000 from a standing start with no seed money is the most difficult part of building wealth. Making the first million is the next big hurdle. Imagine that in a specific year, your investments returned 10%. If you have $1,000, the return would be $100, while if you had $100,000, it would be $10,000. This means that the more money you have, the more money you will make. That is why the first $100,000 is way more difficult than the second or the third. The return of $100,000 will help to achieve the next one faster. In the same way, if you had $1 million, the return would be $100,000, so the second and the third million would be easier to achieve. That is why Charlie Munger says that you have to achieve $100,000 as soon as possible. With this wealth, your return will start to snowball. The compound return is one of the most important things for investors. Here's how it works. If you have $100,000 invested with a 10% yearly return, in the first year you will win $10,000. In the second year, you would get a 10% return on $110,000 and not on $100,000, which is $11,000. In the third year, you would get a 10% return on $121,000, which is $12,100. After 30 years, the return would be almost a surprising $2 million. This example shows how powerful the compound return is. That is why Albert Einstein used to say compound return is the eighth wonder of the world. The faster you amass $100,000, the faster the compound return will help you to achieve the next one. $100,000 might look like a mountain from the ground, but you really do have to take that first step. The hardest step is always the first step. It doesn't matter what you're doing in life. Starting is the most difficult, but also the most important thing to do. After all, you can't finish anything without starting it. Achieving 100K requires a massive amount of change. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll have what you've always had. You may have to make some changes in your habits, like eating less fancily, taking fewer taxis, and spending less money in general. You may also need to work on weekends and find other sources of income depending on how much you make. Charlie Munger noted that once you hit the first $100,000, you can ease off the accelerator. That's because compounding can start to kick in and do its magic. After the $100,000, you will be way closer to achieving your financial independence and retiring earlier if you want. That is because your investments will start to snowball because of the compound return. The stock market is the best tool for this. For the last 200 years, the data shows that the stock market was the best asset class over the long term. From 1802 to 2012, $1 invested in the stock market would have accumulated more than $700,000 after inflation. Let's see an example of how the stock market can turn you into a millionaire. If you invest $1,000 per month for 20 years with a 10% yearly return, it would return $700,000, and after 30 years, it would return more than $2 million. This shows that the earlier you start to invest, the better, as the compound return will start to work sooner. That is the reason why you should try to achieve your first $100,000 as soon as possible. In the book Charlie Munger, The Complete Investor, you can check out how Charlie Munger chose his stocks and how you can be a successful investor just like him. Watch the top 5 lessons from this book by clicking on the card on the screen. Bye!